inspiration
That
for you.
story is a shovelful of sunshine. That is a great story. Hello and welcome to AMHQ Weekend. Today is Saturday, January 16th. I'm Reynolds Wolf.
And I'm Kelly Cass. Thanks for joining us this Saturday morning. Remember back in December, we were wondering when winter would arrive?
I recall this, yes.
Well, guess what? The answer is hometown.
Yeah, exactly. You had some raindrops there, but you move farther north, you see it transform into some ice and possibly some snow.
I am worried about the icy precip there in
Absolutely.
the Berkshires, some of the valleys, the Mohawk Valley as well. Down toward the southeast, we're dry but chilly, and you'll note that we have a little bit of a wintry mix showing up here in parts of Oklahoma and Texas. That's the same system that will eventually bring us that chance of severe weather in Florida.
You're absolutely right. With this, I don't think we're going to see, it's crossing some of the same areas where we had Goliath a few weeks ago, but not the same measure altogether. But out to the west, we see another blast coming in from the Pacific. Looks like some snow in the mountains, Kelly.
Yeah, we've got rain, much needed rain along the coast as well. San Francisco, kind of a rainy day for you with those temperatures in the upper 50s, and even Portland, you could hear some cracks of thunder out there.
Absolutely, quite a game there.
Even lower, in fact, well below your average for this time of the year. Your average high is 23, your average low is 7 degrees, and we're not even going to be close. Look at that, 6 today, 19 below tonight, and then -7 for a high temperature. That's as warm as it gets tomorrow, and then Monday we moderate maybe slightly up to 2 degrees above zero. So still very, very cold, dangerously cold. You don't want to be outside for too long in this kind of cold. 29 in Chicago, not too bad where you are, but 11 Marquette, -12 in the ice box there in International Falls. You factor in the wind, it feels more like -31. Here are your wind chill warnings showing up in the darker blue, going into effect for Minneapolis by about 6 o'clock this evening. That lighter shade of blue from Grand Forks to Fargo, that is a wind chill advisory. But really, no matter how you slice it, you got to dress for the elements because it's so cold. 17 degrees for your high in Marquette, 26 in Traverse City. Layer up in Chicago with that high temperature of 29 degrees, so not even getting above freezing. We stay well below zero in many spots in North and South Dakota, and then go well below that tomorrow morning. We're waking up to -19 in Minneapolis, -24 in International Falls. So yeah, these temperatures are brutal, and these are actual temperatures, not even factoring in the wind. Highs, Minneapolis, -8 for tomorrow, and just 4 degrees in Chicago, but hey, you're on the positive side of zero, so we've got that going for us. Monday it warms up just a little bit, but we stay chilly, and even into the northeast it gets cold. In Milwaukee we stay below average pretty much the next several days, Reynolds. It's going to stay really, really cold.
Sweet tap dancing shnikes. What a way to start.
And we are watching another system that will bring us that chance for storms as we head tonight into tomorrow. So for the most part today we're good. It's really going to be during the overnight hours into early tomorrow morning. You start to hear some of that thunder. Thunderstorms could get pretty strong, if not severe, during the day tomorrow as well. So make sure you've got a way to get those warnings. Here's a look at the setup. All the ingredients coming together. We've got that moisture coming in from the Gulf. Storm track basically pulling it all toward the east, and with all that moisture available, we are going to see the showers and storms kind of set up across the western Gulf and then track along I-10 over towards Florida. For now, just a little bit of light rain showing up in Texas and Oklahoma, right along the Red River Valley. Some of that is snow, by the way, not too far from Amarillo. A lot of that not reaching the ground, though, in Oklahoma. Maybe a flurry or a sprinkle. That's really about it. So you don't have as much moisture for now. But once we get the Gulf involved, later on today, we start to see more of the showers and the storms popping here between Houston and Lake Charles. Here you are, New Orleans. Look at that. Just around 8 o'clock as you're hitting the town out there. Yeah, make sure you bring the umbrellas with you. We will have that chance for some showers and thunderstorms. And then tonight, they really get going as they head over towards Florida, especially watching southwest Florida and even Miami during the day tomorrow. Could be some ground stops at Miami International. Of course, the busy cruise port could be affected as well. And you can see those showers extending all the way up through the Carolinas, where even Charlotte could see a little bit of light snow out of this next one with just enough cold air in play. But Atlanta, maybe a flurry, especially north of town. But Reynolds, no snow for us. Choppy waters, especially along the north-facing beaches of Hawaii, where we've got the impressive wave heights running about 16.5 feet or so just off the island of Oahu. But around Waikiki Beach, not as bad here on the south-facing shores, but we still have the dangerous surf with the high surf warnings in effect for not just Oahu, but also from Kauai right on down towards Maui as well. We're looking at some pretty big wave action out there today, Reynolds. Chicago, in fact, those numbers are going to stay below freezing for an extended period of time. You do not want to be outside for too long, and you definitely want to cover up as much as possible. If you're one that likes to set your thermostat at like 65 degrees, your furnace is going to be kicking on quite a bit with those temperatures staying below freezing drizzling all day long today. Make sure you get something to cover up all the drafts that might be coming into the house, especially with that wind howling out there in parts of Minnesota. 5 in Minneapolis right now. It is -12 on the thermometer in International Falls. But look at this. This is what it feels like, -31. So for today, we're in the single digits in Minneapolis. We're 28 for a high in Chicago. So basically, our temperatures are going down from where they are right now. And then tomorrow morning, we drop it down to 2 in Chicago, -19 in Minneapolis. No wonder. We've got those wind chill warnings in effect for a good chunk of the northern plains, the upper Midwest. Tomorrow's high in Chicago, only 4 degrees. Far cry from where we've been the past couple of days. Indianapolis, I mentioned don't stay outside for too long when you've got serious cold, because when you've got a temperature of 1 and a wind speed of even just 10 miles per hour, wind chill factor -14. That basically means it only takes about 30 minutes for frostbite to set in this situation. So very cold, hypothermia also a concern when you've got this kind of cold for so long, Reynolds. We're finally getting some of that along the coast of California too, being an El Nino year, a very active pattern. So for Seattle, we've got the rain today. Again, tomorrow, it's going to be a chilly rain with those temperatures in the 40s. We bring the rain back on Tuesday, Wednesday, even into Thursday. So really, your only dry day to maybe get out and run those errands is going to be Monday with a high of 51 degrees and mostly cloudy skies. We're picking up the raindrops right now in Seattle. The blue is indicating where we've got the snow higher up across the Olympics and the Cascades, with those snow levels running at about 3,500 feet. Avalanche is a huge concern here across the Cascades, by the way. And even down into the Sierra, we're tracking some of that snowfall as well. Great to see that in California, trying to make a dent in the drought. You can see the scattered rain showers across the Central Valley of California as well. We go out to the Pacific, see if we've got any more coming our way. And as a matter of fact, we do. Our pattern continues to bring on the storm systems. With every storm system that moves onshore, you're going to have a little bit of wind and very heavy rain at the coastline. And you can see that wintry mix showing up in pink. And then, of course, the blue, that's all snow spreading inland across the higher elevations. But even into Monday, we're going to track more of this precipitation through not just the northwest, but all the way down into California. This is so much needed rain. But unfortunately for the burn areas, there could be some concern with the lack of vegetation. We could have some mudslides and landslides out there as well, the flash flood threat too. So sometimes too much of a good thing can be a problem. And look at the snow we're going to be tracking, especially through the Cascades. Great news for the ski resorts here, Reynolds. Some areas getting up to 2 feet of fresh powder.
Man.
We have snow, so a lot of you may be wanting to get up to the mountains and do some skiing this weekend. Be careful. We've got some issues out there along the Adirondack Northway. Once you get north of, say, Glens Falls, there's your freezing line right there, the 32-degree line, indicating when those temperatures are sub-freezing. Also back here across the western parts of Ohio, Michigan, below freezing as well. So we do have some issues because you throw a little bit of moisture in there, and depending on how deep that moisture layer is or how thick that colder level is, that's going to determine what kind of precipitation you are getting. So the blue is an indication of where we might be seeing some snowfall. And then you get some of that brighter color, some of that yellow and orange. That's what we call bright banding. Might be some sleet or basically some frozen ice pellets out there, and that has higher reflectivity. And then you've got the plain old rain down along the coastline along I-95. No worries as far as wintry weather goes. It's going to be a rain event for you from Boston to Providence, right on down towards New York City. So here's a look at the snow that's going to be affecting us, though, in the western parts of Pennsylvania. Also across the Mohawk Valley, the Capital District, watching Albany, one of those places that could have some icy spots on the roads this morning, especially the bridges and the overpasses. But then later on tonight, most of that will quit. We will see some snow, though, across the Tug Hill and across the northern portions of Vermont, New Hampshire, and also into Maine, where you guys are going to be the jackpot winner when it comes to snowfall totals. Not even calling for a whole lot of snow for the most part. A general 1 to 3 in that lighter shade of blue. You get some areas in the darker blue with 3 to 5. Way over here in upstate Maine, or just across the border here with Canada, that's where we can expect anywhere from 5 to 8 inches of snowfall accumulation, so enough to maybe warrant the snow blowers. Here's a look at a little bit of snow that's showing up in the southern plains. We've had snow reports not too far from Amarillo, Texas. Also maybe a few flakes of snow into the western parts of Oklahoma. A lot of this, though, not reaching the ground, so it's very light precipitation, not a whole lot of moisture involved with this. And as we go through the day today, Oklahoma City, whatever is out there basically dissipates and goes away by later on this afternoon. But then we see another little batch of precip kind of working in. So definitely something to be mindful of, especially on those bridges and overpasses. And boy, in the west, it's all about the rain along the coast, the wind, and then the snow across the higher elevations, Reynolds.
We go from that cool weather